You're watching the RunFoot YouTube channel. I'm Finlay and this episode is on the Brooks Ghost Max 3 running shoes. We'll talk through the tech, how they feel to run in and what these are best suited to. Hope you enjoy. Starting with the midsole, it features a relatively thick layer of Brooks's Nitrogen-infused DNA LOFT V3 foam, which is the same material that's in the Ghost 17 running shoes. However, there's a key difference in geometry. The Ghost 17 have a 10mm drop from heel to toe, whereas the Ghost Max 3 have a 6mm drop from heel to toe with more cushioning in the forefoot. That leads me on to the next technology that's in the Ghost Max 3 running shoes, which is Brooks's GlideRoll technology. The slightly lower drop works alongside a stiff forefoot rocker to help transition the foot from landing through to takeoff and help smooth out transitions. Now, importantly, this technology can help lower the stress that's going through the lower leg area, such as your calf muscles, and into the foot, so such as the plantar fascia. We will come back to talk about that in a little bit more detail later on in the episode. Next, the Ghost Max 3 have a very broad base, particularly in the midfoot, and this works alongside a linear lace in the upper to offer a more accommodating and spacious fit, particularly in that midfoot area. And this is very important because ensuring that the shape of the shoe matches the shape of your foot is incredibly important from a comfort perspective and from a support and stability perspective. If somebody who has a slightly flatter or broader arch is running in a shoe with a very narrow base, chances are it's not going to feel that great underfoot, and actually having the right shape where your foot can actually sit in the shoe properly could completely transform the running experience. On to the run performance then. Now, while the Ghost Max 3 are pitched as being max cushion running shoes, I think it's fair to say they feel a bit different to models such as the Brooks Glycerin Max or the Nike Vomero 18, which feel incredibly protective underfoot. And don't get me wrong, this still feels like you've got a lot of cushioning under your feet, but it probably sits somewhere in between what we're now classing as a max cushion running shoe and a traditional everyday mileage running shoe such as the Ghost 17. And the benefit of this is that while the midsole offers a lot more protection than quite a lot of everyday mileage road running shoes, it feels potentially a lot more stable than some of the max cushion models where the midsoles are going well up from 40mm. The geometry of this delivers a really good balance between protection and stability. Now, coming back to that stiff forefoot rocker, some of you might have listened to that and thought, oh well, will the cushioning feel firm there? But it's incredibly well designed because when you're running at slow to steady paces, the midsole just transitions your foot forwards seamlessly, and if anything, it enhances the cushioning experience because the midsole just feels so fluid and you really do feel it taking the stress off your lower leg area. It's amazing how if you've got some tightness in your calf muscles, you really don't find that that's then a problem when you're out doing those everyday miles. And building on that point, if like me, you're quite prominent on your heel when you're landing, you're quite a heavy heel striker, you might find in some very soft midsoles, even if they've got a rocker, that you're sinking a little bit in the cushioning and you might not quite get the full benefit of that rocker. So the benefit of this design and the fact that it's not ultra soft underfoot is that you really do get the full benefit of that rocker geometry, and then that's what's helping take the stress off your calf muscle. So ironically, if this was also almost more cushioned or much softer underfoot, might not actually perform as effectively. So who are the Ghost Max 3 running shoes best suited to? Well, it's probably no surprise based on what we've just been talking about that these should work very well for runners who have tightness in their calf muscles, and that's whether you're the type of runner who maybe suffers from calf tightness during your run, or it really hinders you after your run and you're feeling like your calf muscles are very tight for a day or a couple of days. It's just because this geometry has the potential to take so much load and stress off that area. Now, we're not going to get too technical in the next suggestion, but a lot of runners, it's very common to have stiffness in your big toe joint. Fortunately, I'm not going to show you my foot right now, but it's very common in the toe for it to be stiff, or sometimes people even have what's been referred to as hallux limitus, which is limited range of motion in the big toe joint. And what you will see in a lot of runners is their feet will be, or the foot will be landing abducted, rotated out. And while that can stem from a range of potential causes, so for example, if somebody's kicking football the whole time, then that movement might be coming from that. But a lot of the time, people turn their foot out because it's hard for them to flex over their big toe joint. So by turning their foot out, that then allows you to move essentially through the path of least resistance. Now, why the Ghost Max 3 might be a very good option for you if you do have a stiff big toe joint is that that stiff forefoot rocker geometry will really help essentially do some of that mechanical work for you, which means that you might not then end up rotating your foot out as much. But also, if you do still abduct your foot a little bit, because the platform is so broad, you'll have a very stable base under your foot, and also you should in theory be moving forward in a slightly more efficient manner, which could have a lot of benefits for the rest of your biomechanics up through the knee, up through the hip. So it's definitely a model to consider if that's something that you think you have or know you have from whether you've been to see a running specialist shop in the past and you've seen that on a gait analysis. And finally, if you're just simply looking for very comfortable everyday mileage running shoes, then the Ghost Max 3 should be a great choice for you. While they don't offer the most protection underfoot, the benefit of that is that you still feel quite connected to the shoe. So what Brooks has actually managed to achieve with the Ghost Max is very unique. It's quite hard to create a midsole geometry which is, in one hand, offering so much help, but on the other, also still making you feel like you're very much working with the shoe and you can feel what's going on under your feet. So a very impressive piece of engineering, and even the upper design, that extra space for your foot to just splay out, that could have a lot of benefits for your foot health over time. I think it's fair to say that the Brooks Ghost Max 3 running shoes are unlikely to be the most exciting shoes that you see reviewed on Instagram, social media and YouTube, but these have been expertly designed by Brooks and they have the potential to help so many runners. So if any of this is connecting with you and you think, oh, well, I do get quite tight calf muscles after my runs, or I maybe feel my plantar fascia a bit during my long runs or the next day, this is definitely an option to consider. That brings me to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. As always, if you have any questions at all, please comment on the episode and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. See you soon.